Aha. Do you even realize what you did this morning? Huh? That tiny, quiet move you made. Yeah, that one. It changed something bigger than you think. Oh, you probably brushed it off, didn't you? Just another boring sunrise? Nah, you shifted something in the air today. And trust me, he noticed. That smile wasn't random. It was earned. You have no idea what kind of storm you survived before you even opened your eyes. No clue how your patience, your silence, your restraint turned into power. The kind that makes watchers grin from the shadows. Yeah, I said it. Someone smiled because you didn't break today. Because you didn't fall for the noise. Because you handled your chaos like a king in disguise. Oh, you don't believe me? Keep watching, because this isn't just a story, it's your reflection. Every word you're about to hear is about you. The side of you that's been fighting without applause. So listen closely, feel every pause, every silence, every punchline, because what you did this morning, that quiet decision, it might have just changed everything. And to everyone watching right now, you're not just an audience. No, you're the chosen few who see deeper. The ones who feel when others scroll past. You're the reason this voice exists. The reason truth still echoes in the dark corners of this world. So comment below. Let me know you felt this. Let me know you heard it. Because after tonight, you'll never look at your mornings the same way again. Sometimes, the most dangerous thing you ever did was something you didn't even notice. Oh wow, you think mornings are harmless, don't you? Just another sunrise, another routine, another day you scroll through without really looking. You wake up, you breathe, you move, you exist. But today, you did something different. Something small, something quiet, something that shifted the air around you without your awareness. And someone who's been watching smiled. You don't even remember it, do you? That single act, that flicker of choice between noise and silence, pride and patience, darkness and discipline. You thought it meant nothing. You thought it was just a passing moment. But that's the funny thing about moments, they never really pass. They plant, they root. They grow where you least expect. Yeah, nah, don't look around like you're confused. You know exactly what I mean. There was a moment this morning when your soul hesitated, when your heart had a war inside it, and you won. You didn't shout. You didn't fight. You didn't show off. You simply chose right when no one was looking. And that choice, that choice, it was seen, not by cameras, not by people, but by consequence itself. Consequence always watches. It has no eyes, yet it sees everything. It lurks behind every breath, waiting for you to decide who you'll be when no one's clapping. And this morning, when you thought no one noticed, consequence smiled, because you passed the kind of test that breaks most people. You think strength is loud. You think it's fists, fire, and fury. But true strength is silent. It's that moment when you hold yourself back even though every bone in you screams for release. It's when you could destroy but choose discipline instead. That's the moment that rewires fate. That's the moment that changes what the future owes you. Oh wow, Yeah, this morning you built a wall no one can see. You turned chaos into calm without needing an audience. That's why he smiled, because that's power. Not the kind that shouts from rooftops, but the kind that walks quietly and still shakes the ground. You see, most people wake up and chase noise. They scroll through chaos, feed their hunger for attention, and then wonder why they feel empty. But you, this morning you did something so rare, so quiet, it slipped through time itself. You denied your weakness. You starved your ego. You let patience win. And oh, it made him smile. The one who's been waiting for you to stop performing and start becoming. You didn't even realize you'd begun something. But beginnings never announce themselves, do they? They come disguised as ordinary mornings. The kind of morning where the world feels dull, but something in you refuses to decay. He smiled because he saw it. The spark, the one that says, I'm done being easy prey. He saw the stillness that can't be manipulated, the restraint that bleeds power, the calm that drives fear into the heart of everything fake. You see, the strong don't move fast. They move with meaning. And this morning, every second of your silence was an earthquake in disguise. Oh, you have no idea what you did. You think nothing changed, but you shifted something deep in the unseen, in the rhythm that decides who rises and who fades. And that's what made him smile. Because when you acted with control, you exposed a truth. You're not the same as them anymore. You crossed an invisible line, from victim to observer, from reactor to ruler of response. That's why he smiled, because now your silence has weight, your stillness has power, and the world, oh, the world is not ready for what that means next. The moment you stop craving their noise, they start fearing your silence. You felt it, didn't you? That strange peace crawling beneath your skin. It's not comfort, it's awakening. Oh wow, the noise you used to chase doesn't feed you anymore. The validation, the approval, the cheap applause, it tastes bitter now. You looked around and saw it all for what it was. Noise, distraction. The endless buzzing of people too afraid to face themselves. And for the first time, you didn't need it. That's when everything shifted. Because when you no longer need the crowd starts to tremble. They sense it. That independence, that refusal to dance to their rhythm. It unsettles them. You think silence is peace. But to them, your silence is rebellion. Yeah, you've become dangerous in the calmest way possible. The quiet one always is. The one who no longer reacts, who no longer flinches, who no longer explains. That's the one they whisper about. You didn't raise your voice, you raised your value. You used to fight for their attention. Now your focus has turned inward, sharpened, controlled. You're no longer desperate to prove your worth. You've realized that worth isn't proven, it's protected. And protection begins in silence. Nah, don't mistake this stillness for weakness. The world will. It always does. They'll poke, they'll test, they'll call you distant, cold, arrogant. But deep down, they know. They know the difference between someone who hides and someone who's done hiding. You see, when you stop playing their game, you expose its emptiness. You start seeing how much of life is noise made by people terrified of quiet, because quiet reveals truth. And truth is something most can't survive. Oh, and that's why he smiled this morning. Because you reached the threshold where silence turns into strength. He saw the flicker, the moment you stopped needing to be understood. That's when understanding finally starts to find you. There's a strange kind of power in walking away from noise without saying a word. It's the moment the world realizes it no longer controls your temperature. You stopped letting their chaos decide your calm. You stopped letting their voices drown your own. You walked through the noise and came out unshaken. You became untouchable, not because you fought harder, but because you stopped fighting for what was never yours to keep. Peace doesn't come from victory. It comes from release. And now you've released what chained you. The noise, the need, the endless search for belonging in hollow places. You walked away and silence followed you like a crown. Oh wow. If only they knew what silence hides. If only they knew that the quiet one has been sharpening their mind, not their tongue. While they shout to be seen, you've been preparing to become what they never could imagine. And when the quiet one no longer needs their noise, the game changes. Because the moment you master silence, you start mastering them. You can't break what you already learned to live without being whole. That's the part they never understand. Oh wow. They think pressure will crush you, that if they push hard enough you'll finally crack. But you're past that point. You've already met the version of yourself that shattered once and came back sharper. You've seen what happens when your comfort burns away. You've walked through the kind of silence that bends weaker minds. And yet here you are, calm, composed, untouchable. They mistake that stillness for fragility. They whisper, he's quiet now, he's tired. No, you're not tired. You're calculating. You've reached that cold, clear zone where emotion no longer commands you, it reports to you. You've become the observer of your own storm. Yeah, you've felt what real pressure is when your back's against the wall and no one's coming to save you. You learned then that no amount of noise can break a person who's already faced silence and survived it. You built something inside that no one can steal. Endurance. The kind that doesn't need to prove itself. Nah, they don't see it yet. They still believe breaking you will restore their power. So they poke, they provoke, they test your boundaries. But here's the secret. They're too late. You've already been through worse. You've already met pain, had tea with it, and left it at the door. Their attempts now are just echoes hitting iron. And that's what terrifies them. Because when someone realizes you can't be manipulated by fear or praise, they lose all control. They throw every trick they know, gossip, silence, deceit, judgment, but you don't move. Not because you don't feel it, but because you understand it, you see through it. Every jab, every smirk, every word, they're just noise trying to find an opening that doesn't exist anymore. Oh wow. Yeah, that's power, isn't it? Not shouting, not proving, just knowing. You've learned that calm doesn't mean weakness. It means you've already chosen your response before they even act. You've already forgiven their noise before they make it. And that level of control, it's untouchable. You see, the world doesn't fear anger. It fears clarity. Because clarity doesn't react. It exposes. And right now, you've become exposed to yourself. You're the mirror they can't look into for too long. You show them what they are when they try to destroy what they can't understand. Oh, they tried to break you. But how do you break someone who doesn't live for approval anymore? How do you crush a soul that finds peace in truth, not in validation? You can't. They can't. That's why he smiled. Because every attempt to hurt you has turned into proof of your evolution. They'll keep trying. Of course. That's what the lost always do. They test the strong, hoping to see a flinch. But your silence will haunt them more than any scream could. And one day, when they finally realize they never broke you, they'll understand what real strength looks like. Destruction was never your real gift. Creation was. Oh wow, they thought you'd vanish when you went quiet. They thought silence meant defeat. But you were never gone. You were gathering. You were collecting strength from stillness, rebuilding brick by invisible brick. While they were loud, you were becoming. While they wasted energy shouting, you learned how to shape it. You learned how to channel what once broke you into something that now builds you. You see, silence doesn't mean absence. It means precision. You're not gone. You're focused. Every quiet hour you spend now is sharpening your next move. You're studying, building, refining. You've stopped reacting and started constructing. And oh, it's terrifying them, because you've shifted from being emotional to being intentional. You finally understood the game. You don't fight noise with noise. You starve it. You let it echo in its emptiness until it collapses under its own weight. You realize that your growth doesn't need an audience, only discipline. And once discipline enters the room, chaos has no place to sit. Nah, you're not the same anymore. The old version of you used to crave being understood. This one, it craves being effective. You stopped wasting words and started crafting action. You stopped explaining your silence and started using it as fuel. And oh, how that silence burns. Because silence used right isn't passive, it's preparation. You see, the strongest creations rise from quiet moments. Empires of thought are built in shadows before they ever touch light. Every step you're taking now, every boundary you've drawn, every truth you've accepted, it's forming something solid. A life built not on noise, but on alignment. Oh, wow. Yeah, they'll notice soon. The same ones who mocked your quiet will one day study your results. They'll try to mimic your calm, but they won't understand the cost. Because silence without purpose is just emptiness. But yours is alive. Yours hums with intent. Yours is the sound of self-mastery. It's strange, isn't it? How peace became your rebellion. How patience became your sharpest weapon. You don't need to tear others down anymore. Your progress alone makes enough noise. You build, you move, you create. And creation always wins in the end. Because creation means growth, and growth is something the broken can't imitate. You've entered the phase where your silence becomes architecture. Every thought measured, every action deliberate. You've stopped reacting to what's around you and started designing what's ahead of you. And now you've become something rare. Someone who doesn't just survive the storm, but learns from its rhythm. Nah, they can't touch you anymore. You've outgrown the dimension where their words mattered. Your peace no longer depends on their acceptance. It's forged in the fire of your own discipline. That's why he smiled this morning. Because silence isn't your retreat, it's your workshop. You've been crafting something new yourself, version unbreakable. And this is where the real power begins. Not the loud kind, the quiet, relentless kind. The kind that doesn't boast, it becomes. The kind that doesn't fight for control, it earns it. Oh, and when the world finally sees what you've built in silence, they'll call it sudden. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't sudden. It was strategic. Every quiet morning, every ignored insult, every moment you chose restraint over reaction, it was construction. And that's what makes you unstoppable now. Because the one who can build while bleeding can never be defeated. Oh, you have no idea how much that scares them. They've never faced someone who uses stillness as a weapon. They've never seen silence that creates storms. You thought silence would make you invisible, but it made you unforgettable. Oh wow. They didn't see it coming. The ones who once mocked your calm now move differently when you enter the room. It's strange, isn't it? You didn't shout, you didn't boast, you simply became consistent. And somehow that scared them more than any scream ever could. Your silence began to echo. It began to teach. Without words, you started rewriting the behavior of everyone around you. You see, real influence doesn't come from control. It comes from example. And you became that example. Every quiet choice you made, every moment you refused to fall apart, every time you held your peace when it would have been easier to explode, people noticed. They didn't admit it, but they felt it. They started questioning their noise. They started seeing how calm looks in a storm. You became the mirror that made them face their own chaos. Yeah, that's what happens when strength becomes steady. It spreads. The same way fear infects, discipline inspires. You became a walking reminder that peace can exist in fire, that silence isn't weakness, it's power under control. And when people witness that, something inside them shifts. Nah, they'll never tell you directly. Pride won't let them. But deep down, they're learning from you. You turned your silence into a signal, a vibration that ripples through everything fake, everything hollow. You're teaching without teaching. You're leading without leading. You've become what every loud soul secretly craves, certainty. Oh, and that's why he smiled this morning. Because silence, once mocked, has now become movement. You've crossed from survival to leadership. You've stopped fighting battles and started shaping balance. You're not just existing anymore, you're guiding through presence alone. And that's the quiet revolution they'll never understand. Because influence doesn't need words, it needs truth. Every step you take now carries a lesson. Every pause, every gesture, every boundary, it all tells a story of someone who found order within and never needed chaos again. Oh wow, yeah, the world starts to notice when one person stops being reactive. They start to follow it. They may not admit it, but they crave that peace. You'll watch them copy your habits, your patience, your restraint. That's not imitation, it's awakening. You're proving that control isn't about suppression, it's about freedom. And you know what's even more dangerous? You didn't plan to change anyone. You were just mastering yourself. That's how real change begins. Unintended, pure, unforced. You didn't push the world, you pulled it forward through your example, and in that you discovered the highest form of strength, quiet influence. Nah, you're not trying to be followed. You're simply walking in alignment with truth, and those who crave truth can't help but notice. You've become the evidence that integrity still exists, that endurance still matters, that silence still wins. And one day soon they'll understand. They'll realize you were never silent because you had nothing to say. You were silent because your actions spoke louder. You weren't avoiding the world, you were building one worth walking in. Oh, they thought silence would end your story, but silence wasn't your ending. It was your awakening. It was the beginning of your real voice. The kind of voice that doesn't need to shout to be heard. The kind that lives on long after the noise fades. And now, the world finally listens. So here we are, in the end, huh? But wait, this isn't really the end. Nah, it's the beginning. You see, what you did this morning? That quiet, unseen choice? Yeah, it wasn't small. It wasn't random. It planted something in you, something unstoppable. And he noticed. That smile, that confirmation, that's proof that every moment of restraint, every second you stayed calm, it matters. Oh, wow. Think about it. How many mornings have you let slip by thinking nothing changes? Nah, not today. Today you became the shift. Today you showed the world, even when nobody's watching, you're still winning. And to you, yeah, you watching right now, you're not just a viewer, you're the real MVP. You're the one who gets it, the one who knows the value of silence, discipline, and unseen power. Big salute to you. So here's the challenge. Comment below. Share your morning story. Let the world know that quiet victories exist. Drop your thoughts, your moments, your reflections, because your voice, combined with the truth you just heard, can shake more than the world ever expected. Remember this. He smiled because you acted when it mattered, even when you didn't realize it. And now it's your turn to notice your own power, to honor your own choices, and to never underestimate the weight of your smallest acts. So smash that like, hit subscribe. Share this with everyone who needs to hear it. 'Cause the truth, the quiet, unstoppable truth, is contagious. And finally, never forget this. Every morning, every choice, every silent victory, it's building you, the one who can stand untouchable, the one who can smile while the world trembles. Oh yeah, that's your power, that's your story, and that is why he smiled.